Welcome to Health News and Views, a podcast dedicated to bringing some clarity to the health disparities in the Black and Brown communities. If you believe there's a connection between food, sickness, and health, then you're in the right place. Let's begin the process of unraveling the truth. And now, your host, Lynn Pete.
Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Health News and Views, Food, the Final Frontier. Hi, I'm your host, Lynn Pete. In our current political climate and economic situation that we're in right now that's unfolding here in the United States, it is imperative that Health News and Views, Food, the Final Frontier includes a survival mode thinking to help you maintain good health. Detecting diabetes. We're digging into the early signs of pre-diabetes and what to look for and who's at risk and what can you do to stop this condition from turning into full-blown type 2 diabetes. This is especially important for our Black and Brown communities where diabetes continues to hit the hardest. First, before we get started, here's our disclaimer that the subject matter provided in this podcast or any of our other published documents is for informational purposes only. Food, the Final Frontier, and our partner, healthnewsandviews.info. We do not attempt to treat, diagnose, or cure any disease or condition. Always check with your healthcare provider before making any lifestyle, dietary, or prescription drug change. And before we get started, let's do some fun fruit and veggie facts. And here's some information that you can share with your family, especially the kids and maybe some adults that or still eat like their children. Anyway, did you know that red fruits support heart health? Did you know that orange foods are good for your eyes and that eating yellow fruits can prevent illness? Blue and purple fruits are also good for your memory. But did you know that bananas and humans share 50% of the same DNA? So you are top banana after all, right? By the way, did you know the strawberries have their seeds? It's the only fruit that has its seeds on the outside. Just having some fun with this, but enough of that for right now. We have some serious information we must pass on to you. I always like to start with statistics, and it kind of helps to lay out the format of how I'm going to present the information to you. And it's the backdrop of everything that's happening in the Black and Brown communities. There, according to the CDC and NIH, there's over 96 million U.S. adults. That's like 1/3 of our population are pre-diabetic. And did you know that 80% don't even know that they're pre-diabetic? In the last 20 years, Black adults are nearly 60% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes than white adults. And Hispanic and Latino adults are 70% more likely to be diagnosed. But here's a clincher. Native American adults have the highest rates of diabetes among any racial group. Black and brown men aged 35 to 64 are disproportionately affected, often due to lack of access to affordable care, food deserts, and stress-related hormonal imbalance. Here are some critical signs that you may be that 1 in 3 persons who are pre-diabetic and just have no idea. And you may not feel sick, by the way, but these are some silent signs that your body is waving a red flag. Please take note, because this information can either help you or someone that you know or love. 3 friends sitting together or 3 family members sitting together. One of those 3 people may be pre-diabetic. So here's some information you can share with them. Increased thirst and frequent urination. That's probably at the top of every list. Oh, I just drink a lot of water. And of course, if I drink a lot of water, I'm going to pee a lot. Well, it could be a sign that your kidneys are working overtime to remove the excess glucose or sugar. You heard before it was somebody say, oh, they're just too sweet. Skin tags. Do you oftentimes have skin tags? Those are usually around on the neck, or they may also be somewhere under the arm. Those may also be an indication of prediabetes. Constant fatigue. I'm always so tired. Well, glucose or sugar isn't entering the cells properly, and it's leaving you drained. Unexplained weight gain or difficulty losing weight, especially belly fat. What do you say? Oh, I just need to get back into the gym. Okay. Blurred vision. Another silent sign that your body's waving a red flag. If you have blurred vision, the excuse that, my prescription for my glasses is over 2 years old, I just need to get my eyes checked. But what it could also mean is the high sugar levels actually can swell in the eye lens. So it could be the sugar that's also affecting your vision. Do you have dark patches on your skin, usually around the armpits, the groin, or the neck area? It's just a little bit darker than the rest of the skin, a little discoloration. Oh, it's just a little discoloration. No, it's a warning sign. Do you have slow healing cuts or frequent infections? Yeah, I'm surprised I'm just not full of infection with these kids. They bring me all the germs. No, that's not going to work. Okay. High sugar weakens the immune response. And that's why it takes you longer to get well or to respond. It's because there's too much sugar in the blood. Tingling or numbness in feet and hands. Oh yeah, I just sitting here, my hands and feet just fell asleep. That could be the early sign of nerve damage. Increased hunger. I'm hungry all the time. That could mean that the insulin resistance causes glucose starvation at the cellular level. Irritability and mood changes. What violent mood swings? Yeah, how about those? That could mean that the sugar spikes and crashes that you're having impact your brain function. Frequent yeast or urinary tract infections? Yep, every 3 months it seems like. Really? That could also mean that sugar is the fuel for bacteria and fungi. That may explain the frequency of having yeast infections or urinary infections. Again, too much sugar in the system. So what's causing this rise? And in the last 20 years, actually it's longer than that, because I can probably see some statistics that go back to the 1970s. But the introduction of ultra-processed foods, cheap, calorie-dense foods, and have no nutrients in them whatsoever. A bag of chips, a sleeve of crackers, a can of cookies. There's no nutrients in that type of food, but that has been on the rise for years now. High sugar intake, sodas, juices, even so-called healthy granola bars. And don't forget the lattes that we swing by and get from time to time. This is also causing a rise in diabetes. Sedentary lifestyles, technology and urban design discourage physical activity. And that's true, because if you look at some of the neighborhoods, it's not conducive for walking around, exercising, so to speak. But you need to find a way, make a way. The body is designed for movement. What about chronic stress? Do you have that? What's another cause, especially in underserved communities, can spike cortisol and blood sugar. And that chronic stress for some folks is daily. And just saying, these folks get on my last nerve and all the time. Well, that stress actually affects the body as well. Lack of health care or access to health care. Delays in diagnosis and early intervention. This is so, so important, and it's too important for you to wait another day. You have to find out your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, that is a clear indication that you probably need to know your numbers. Aggressive food marketing, I know it. That adage that we like to use, the devil made me do it. I didn't even want that, but that looked so good, I had to get some. Well, that's not going to work much longer, especially and this aggressive food marketing, by the way, especially towards children in the minority communities. The foods that's not even food. It's not food. It's not. I can't even call it a snack. I don't know what to call it. Anyway, if left untreated, what are we looking at? We're looking at pre-diabetes, which is a silently progression into type 2 diabetes, which does a number of things that we would rather not have done. Pre-diabetes can lead into heart disease, stroke, kidney failure. In my family alone, we've had at least 3 family members on dialysis. Amputations, if you've heard any of my podcasts in episodes before this one, my nephew probably had the most severe amputations in the family. And it usually starts for him in his feet, his toe or foot, his leg below the knee, then his fingers. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But another, if left untreated, You don't need to be blind because of food. Food should not be the reason why you lose your eyesight. Nerve damage. Diabetes starts at extremities, usually in your feet at first. Increased risk of Alzheimer's. Now they call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. But there's hope, folks. There is hope. Lifestyle changes can reverse this. And I just want to give you a couple of things that you should do, or can do. Pass the information on to family members and friends too. Get your A1C test or fasting blood sugar test done. It's really a barometer of sorts. It kind of charts what your body has been going through over a period of 3 to 4 months. When they take the test, they can tell how about just based on the amount of sugar that's in your blood, and get that test as soon as. You can start with small dietary changes, more fiber, fewer sugary drinks, and maybe add 10 to 30 minutes of walking every day. I know it's hard to just strike out and do 30 minutes, but start with 10 and work up to 30 minutes a day of walking. And track it. Get yourself one of those smart watches that has a tracker on it so you can see how long and how far that you actually walk during that period. Get 7 hours of sleep per night if you can. I know I'm bad at that too, but my body will take 7 hours even if it happens during the next day. Somehow I need a nap in the afternoon or something, or mid-morning even sometimes. Find a community support group and stay consistent. There are some organizations out there that are helpful. There's the American Diabetes Association. They have free risk tests and local events. The CDC, the Centers for Disease Control. I'm not sure if that organization is still viable. Again, with our current political situation, I don't know. But you might want to check in with them. They're the cdc.gov, diabetes prevention, Black Women's Health Imperative. Is that right? Black Women's Health Imperative. And they are the bwhi.org. And they're a health advocacy and screening group, the Latino Diabetes Association, and the health centers at the HRSA. And you can find a health center by putting in hrsa.gov for free and low-cost clinics near you. Don't wait until you feel sick. You don't have to wait just to act. Pre-diabetes is your final warning, and you've got the power to reverse this. Share this episode with someone you love. It could save their life. And remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Essentially, that means that in order for us to effectively take care of others, we must first take care of ourselves. Make it a powerful day. Do come back. There's more to tell. Peace.